Hello, I'm Graham. Welcome back to Man vs Film, and this is going to be a top 10 of movies that you can watch right now on Netflix US for the month of November 2018. And I have got some great movies to recommend you this month, including some Netflix originals and a movie that I discovered this year that may well be one of the best movies of the year for me. Stay tuned to find out what that is. Let's start with number 10. LA Confidential. Three detectives in the corrupt and brutal LA police force of the 1950s used differing methods to uncover a conspiracy behind the shotgun slayings of the patrons at an all-night diner. In this lush tribute to tough film noir crime thrillers based on the multi-layered James Ellroy novel. LA Confidential is one of those movies that's almost forgotten now, which is a shame because it has got some fantastic performances from Guy Pearce, Russell Crowe and Kevin Spacey. Directed by Curtis Hanson, this is a movie that really does revel in that film noir aesthetic. There is some fantastic scenes, there is great character moments throughout this as you really get a feel for the three detectives investigating this. And watch out for the interrogation scene, which I think is masterfully put together, and this is a real mind trip movie, and I think it is one that should not be forgotten and should definitely be checked out. It is terrific. Number 9. Hold the Dark. After the deaths of 3 children suspected to be killed by wolves, writer Russell Crowe is hired by parents of a missing 6-year-old boy to track down and locate their son in the Alaskan wilderness. I've really enjoyed Jeremy Saulnier's work. He did Blue Ruin and then did The Fantastic Green Room, and I was really curious to see what he was going to do now, adapting this book into a Netflix original movie. And like most Netflix original movies, it has its ups and it has its downs. If it's your brand of movie, then you're going to love it. If not, you may find it a little bit slow, a little bit paceless, and something that you're not really expecting. That synopsis doesn't really tell the big picture of this. It's all about people dealing with loss and myths of their kind of people. Don't want to spoil too much for you. I thought it was pretty decent. It's one that has stuck with me, and I'm still mulling over the final city scene to figure out what it means to me, but it's one that I can suggest as I did enjoy it. Number 8. The Devil's Advocate. Defence attorney Kevin Lomax has never lost one single case. He is invited to New York to work for a big law firm ruled by senior board members John Milton, who showers him with wealth and feeds his vanity. Kevin's wife just wants to have a baby and is distressed by Kevin always being on case and never at home. This is another one of these movies that I just absolutely adore. The Devil's Advocate stars Keanu Reeves and Al Pacino, who is literally chewing the scenery every time he is on scene. This is all about a small-time attorney who's a big fish in a small pond and moves to this grandiose city working on cases he'd never imagined, and he takes to it like a duck to water. But there is a sinister thing going on, which I don't want to spoil for you, that it discovers all the way through the movie. It's affecting, it gets under your skin. It's so many fun moments that just layer up time and time again. There is fantastic performances here from most of the actors, and it's a movie that every time I go back to, I enjoy a little bit more, and I think it's time to recommend it. Number 7. Chappaquiddick. The scandal and mysterious events surrounding the tragic drowning of a young woman as Ted Kennedy drove his car off the infamous bridge. Not only did this event take the life of an aspiring political strategist and Kennedy insider, but ultimately changed the course of presidential history forever. Chappaquiddick was one of those movies that I put on knowing nothing about it. Now, I knew nothing of this story, but I found a deeply interesting character study of this one man. It's almost like a biography condensed down to his most defining moment in his life. He was heading on one path, this event happened, and it shook him to the core and destroyed his kind of reputation and ability to be the next president. There are some fantastic scenes, some great actors, some great production design, and it's a movie that just zips by and is fascinating to watch, especially if you don't know too much about the story. This is just one of those movies that came to theatres and disappeared far too quickly, and now it's time to get the attention that it really does deserve. Number 6. V for Vendetta. Tells the story of Eva Hammond and her unlikely but instrumental part in bringing down the fascist government that has taken control of futuristic Great Britain. Saved from a life and death situation by a man in a Guy Fawkes mask who calls himself V. James McTeague directs this movie, but with a little bit of help from the Wachowski brothers, and this is a perfect movie to watch as it's getting to bonfire night, Guy Fawkes night. It's time to stick on this movie all about Britain, all about Big Brother watching you and trying to bring down the system of this tyrannical nature that is going on. It's visually stylistic. It has a deep, resonant story that there's so much more than just the surface material, but if all you're after is the surface material, you'll get enjoyment out of this. If you want something a little bit deeper, you'll get something out of this. This is the movie that has so much going for it. I love it. I watch it every year or so, and every time I watch it, I just think it's fantastic and highly recommended. Number 5, Malevolent. Siblings Jackson and Angela run a profitable ghost-busting racket, swindling the bereaved with fake detection equipment and Angela's paranormal visions. Hired to investigate a haunted old foster home, the team uncover its terrifying past. I really enjoyed most of Malevolent. It's set in Scotland, so of course I do have a kind of bias towards it, but it is very effective. It is an interesting horror movie about a dysfunctional family doing disruptive things to other people, but with the sideline of Angela is starting to get psychic visions, and this is starting to plague her a little bit. And when she goes to this place that has a really bad, torrid history, it begins to affect her in ways that she can't really comprehend. And for the first hour of this movie, it's fantastic. It's creepy, it's suspenseful, it really builds up the tension and gives you the characters. Unfortunately, I don't think the last half hour is as strong as the rest of it, but because of that first hour, I have to recommend it. And it's set in Scotland. Number 4, The Night Comes For Us. Ito, a gangland enforcer caught amidst a treacherous and violent insurrection within his triad crime family upon his return home from a stint abroad. This is an Indonesian action movie in the same vein as The Raid. Now, it's not as polished or as perfect as that movie, but it knows what it wants to do. It wants to entertain with incredibly kinetic and affecting action set pieces, and it goes for it. Almost instantaneously, it has action after action after action, and even though the story's kind of drip fed to you, it's not that important. It's all about the physicality, the action, the blood, the gore, the decimation of people on show in this movie. They must go through gallons of fake blood in this as they tear people limb from limb in these utterly breathless and fantastic action set pieces. If you like the Raid movies, you are going to love this. This is highly recommended. Number 3, Apostle. Thomas Richardson travels to a remote island to rescue his sister after she's kidnapped by a mysterious religious cult demanding a ransom for her safe return. It soon becomes clear that the cult will regret the day it baited this man as he digs deeper and deeper into the secrets and lies upon which this commune is built. Gareth Evans' attempt at a Netflix movie, it brings Dan Stevens with him. Now, I'm a fan of both of these guys. Gareth Evans did the fantastic Maranta Warrior and the Raid 1 and 2. Dan Stevens was amazing in The Guest, so I'm always wanted to check these two people out. And when they came together to create this movie, I was there. As soon as it was on Netflix, I was hitting play and watching this thing. I thought it was pretty great. I love the direction style that this guy has, and it's nice seeing it, taking it from a kinetic action movie and putting it into something that's a little bit more measured in its pace, but still adding a visual flair and style to the movie that kept things fresh and interesting all the way through it. Dan Stevens is actually pretty good in this movie. Better than he's been in other things, but not as good as The Guest, but still good here in this movie that has a little bit of supernatural and a lot of atmosphere in it. This is one of those ones where you are terrified for the people because they're out with of a social norm, and the violence can come thick and fast and decimate them. Number 2, The Shining. Signing a contract, Jack Torrance, a normal writer and former teacher, agrees to take care of a hotel which has a long and violent past that puts everyone in the hotel in a nervous situation. While Jack slowly gets more violent and angry of his life, his son Danny tries to use a special talent, The Shining, to inform the people outside about whatever is going on in the hotel. If you haven't seen The Shining, what are you waiting for? One of the best horror movies ever made, directed by Stanley Kubrick, starring Jack Nicholson. This is a tour de force. It's a movie that really gets under the skin of the characters. From its opening beat, the ominous music, the long winding road, the helicopter shots, up to the Overlook Hotel, and from there on, it just becomes about tension, suspense, terror and disturbing thoughts. It gets under your skin. It has these visceral elements all the way through it, of blood, of spooky twins, of just tension. It is masterfully done. It is a movie that I am growing to appreciate more and more, while at the same time it still terrifies me every single time I watch it. The Shining is a movie that is timeless for me. If you've seen it, watch it again. You'll love it. It's one of those movies that you kind of forget how good it is until you watch it again. If you haven't seen it, you're in for a real treat. This is a highly recommended movie. Number 1, The Endless. This mind-bending thriller follows two brothers who receive a cryptic video message inspiring them to revisit the UFO death cult they escaped a decade earlier. Hoping to find the closure that they couldn't as young men, they're forced to reconsider the cult's beliefs when confronted with unexplainable phenomena surrounding the camp. This is a movie that came out this year that way beyond my top 10 of movies I have seen this year. I absolutely loved The Endless. Now, the directors have done a couple of movies that are fantastic. Resolution, which kind of works in the same universe of this movie, and if you get the chance, watch that first before you watch The Endless, although it's not necessary. And they also did Spring, one of my favourite movies of the year it came out, which is just terrific and something that you should definitely search out as well. The Endless follows these two men, played by the directors, who go to this UFO death cult, who go there and discover that it's not as bad or as terrible as they once thought. Their distance away from it has allowed them to sort of warp their mind of what the cult was like, and when they get back there they discover that not much has changed and their perception of it was wrong, and they start to get reintegrated back into the society, one of the brothers more than the other. And then things start to go a little bit strange and weird in a fantastic way. This was done in a low budget, but it looks great. It has deep, resonant characters. It has a super interesting story that's hard to get to the middle of, but it's just so rewarding when you watch it. And this is a movie that I can thoroughly recommend. Like I said, it's very probably going to be on my top 10 of movies of this year. And that's just, a good recommendation. So there we have it, 10 movies for November 2018. I hope you find something there that you love or enjoy, or something that gets a strong reaction. If it does, let me know in the comment box below your thoughts on that movie, or recommend me something else. I love to get a recommendation, and I look forward to checking out any movies that you have to offer me. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next month for another top 10.